welcome to another episode of Our Point of View Talk Show. We are so glad that you're able to join us this evening. And this evening we have a special show because it's an all women's show. It's the Women's Takeover. Yay! So I'm going to introduce everyone so everyone can say hello. First, we have Miss Cynthia Ward. Hey, Cynthia.
Hi. Hello.
Then we have Miss Tracy Craddock. Hey, Tracy.
Hello.
All the way from Los Angeles. And then we have Cinta Mickle. Hey, Cinta.
Hello, everybody.
And last but not least, we have Miss Lynette Jackson's in the house. How you doing, Lynette?
Hello, good afternoon, ladies.
Hello.
So what we're going to do is we have some questions. And this is all about women. You know, we're talking about, maybe women's health, being a mother, being a sister, about empowerment. So no telling what type of questions we're going to talk about today. So Cinta, you want to start with the first question? I know you got a good one.
Okay. Questions. Let's see. I would say, how has this pandemic truly changed the dynamics of your family? About how you guys are getting along? Is the love really truly there between you and your spouse and you and your children?
That's a good question because it's been 2 years going on 3. Going on 3. So Miss Tracy, what's your answer to that question?
So I think in the beginning, it's changed a lot of things because, I would say, especially with my husband on his side, unfortunately, there's been a lot of people that passed away, more than probably expected. And even though one of them only passed away from COVID, but other ones got sick. So it's been a hard time for us. You know what I mean? As far as family, I think everything's fine. I work from home and he's semi-retired and he works from home as well. So that has never been an issue for us because we have separate places that we do our, I have the office, he takes the other one. So we're fine in that regard. But in my business, it's changed a lot. I had to think outside the box. And but it's been a positive thing. I live in Southern California, and usually in my business, I only work with people in Southern California, but it actually pushed me to step out of my comfort zone and actually start talking to people in Northern California and now Georgia. So which is where I want to be anyway. I want to move to. So yeah, so that's been a positive, I'll say that.
And Cynthia, what about you? How has it changed for you?
It's more of I guess a awakening. I don't know, awakening if that's the correct term I should be using, but it's like it showed me a lot of things that I was giving up by not being at home. So it really gave me an opportunity to look at other options to better my family or to be here for support. So in a bad way, and then it was, confining and traumatic because we were all afraid. But I try to look I'm trying to look on the positive side of everything and just try to put things in, I guess, a different point of view. And it made me kind of do a lot of shadow work with me and my family. So it gave me an opportunity to pick up where I felt I was lacking. So it changed us economically because I left my job to come home to take care of my mom. So of course my finances weren't the same, but it enriched me in other areas and showed me other ways to take care of my family and gave me an opportunity to, to push my kids and my family towards something that they're looking for, their goals, push them, give them a helping hand. I was here to help. So it made me It scared me, but then it also gave me courage to just look at, life, because we can't change what we can't change. So
Yeah.
it made me realize that I had to deal with the situation and how to be strong in whatever's dealt to us. So it's just, I don't know, it's been a trip, but I've been enjoying it. So I'm not enjoying the pandemic, of course, but I've been enjoying the change that it brought onto me as far as getting close to my family, because I haven't had any losses, thank God, due to the pandemic. But my mother was already alone, needing help. So it gave me an opportunity to make a choice on my careers, whether or not I would stay at the 9 to 5 or try to do something else different that still brought me an opportunity to support my family and be at home. So it just it showed me so many things that I wasn't looking at. So I try to, encourage my kids to be safe, but also have the courage to reach out and go a different way, and not always think that you have to be in a direction other than what you want to do. You have to do something that you want to do, instead of always being just grounded. And I think that's what it's done. It's changed my point of view, or my eyesight on life and how I was living it. So, I mean, that probably didn't answer the question, but that's just how I feel about the pandemic.
Yeah, you did. But with me, it brought me closer to my children. It brought me closer to my children, but I was already working from home, so that wasn't like a big transition for me. It wasn't something scary. I was already working from home. It's just now I had people here with me. I wasn't by myself because my children wouldn't let me go anywhere. I couldn't go to the grocery store. I couldn't go to the gas station. I couldn't drive. I couldn't do anything. And I was okay with it. I was okay with it for a while. But now we're going into, it was like 2 years and 3 years. Like after a while, you start getting cabin fever. If you're used to going out with your girlfriends and having lunch, or just going over to their house, and now you can't do that. Everywhere you go, you have to have on a mask. It was kind of scary. But on the business side, as far as for my talk show, it actually helped me. If that makes sense, because before we were in the studio and you had to actually be in Atlanta to be on the show. You had to be in Atlanta, and you had to be everybody went to the studio at a certain time, and and we recorded the show, and we did it like that. But now with the pandemic, or during the pandemic, everybody's on Zoom. So now we have guests who are in Los Angeles, DC, St. Louis. We have guests like basically we can have guests from all over the world now. And I sort of kind of like it like that. It's not, and then it takes away from the driving. You don't have to worry about driving from, home to the studio and then coming back, especially when you're recording at night and you're out there in, in the traffic and all. So it helped a lot for us, for me, as far as for the business side. And, for the personal side, it got me, closer with my family, got us, together more and all. So it helped. It was very, very scary. Thank God I didn't have any close friends who passed from COVID in the beginning, but now they're starting to pass, now because people are getting laxy-daisy with it, but I have had friends who had family members who passed it. And that's when it starts getting close to home. When you have friends who have family members who pass, then it's like you having a family member that passed. And it, really was really scary. So what's your answer, Ms. Lynette?
Well, I guess for me, and I've said it before, my father passed of COVID last year, January. So it changes you. I went from working, and not only that, I had a close friend who passed as well, but working a 9 to 5 in the office with hundreds of people to bringing it home every day for 2 years, looking at 4 walls working. It could put it could mess with you a little bit. And so you have to lean on your family and your friends for support, and or it'll somewhat drive you crazy. But what I do think, for me, a couple things. It did bring me closer to, I was always close with my family, but it brought me even closer to my kids, even though we are always close. It just, you start thinking about things. Now we have dinner on Sundays, we talk every day. I think about and thinking about my father and what he would have wanted me to do to try. And one other thing, although I am a God-fearing Christian, it brought me even closer to God, reading the Bible more.
Yeah.
It really did. I had to, because I got COVID after my dad passed. They told us that when we were there, that the chance of us catching it would be high when we said our final goodbyes, and I caught it. And it gave me a few things, like, I had a brain fog, a couple things that started messing with you. And, so it puts things into perspective. And I just, you learn to be grateful, you learn to be grateful. So it's a lot, but I'm happy. I don't want to say we're over the hump, but we kind of are over the hump at this point. We know what this is. I think they're not, we're trying to get in front of it. There are people still dying, let's say that, but I feel better. I feel better knowing that, because with my father, he was only 3 weeks from getting the shot. So now, you have the choice. You have choices. So, it just kind of gives me a new perspective on life, on things that I need to worry about, things I can control, things I can't control, and trying to stay positive within myself. So, yeah,
Miss Cinta.
Well, I would say, just a tad bit different than all you guys. I do have school-age children. I had, at the time when it happened, they're 14 and 10 now. So, I had a 10-year-old, and I almost went insane. I did at first. I do thank God that the school district started with the Chromebook, so they had it already. So I didn't have a whole bunch of books I had to keep up with. And they were sending the stuff out to them, which was great. And we had to go by the schools and pick the lessons and everything up, which was fine, because our school's not far from here. And I appreciate these teachers. I really did. I was like, I love them. I am down. Appreciation week, ching.
Yes.
Because it's like, wow, I couldn't believe it. But I had a lot of fun with my girls, because they did make me get out there. We had to go out there in our front yard. We had to pick up the leaves, and we had to draw stuff on the sidewalk and for their arts, and we had to do PT outside, physical activity outside. And I had to screenshot this stuff and upload this, showing that they were actually engaged in these kind of things every single day. And at my house, they had a routine. They had I would say clocking in, but they had, every single hour they had something they had to do. But it was good. It got me a chance to learn what it is that they was actually learning. And I was like,
stuff you wouldn't have normally did. Stuff you wouldn't have never known. You wouldn't have normally.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
All the time I said, get up there and you don't go on upstairs and do your homework, be quiet.
Got you involved.
But their parents are military parents. Both Cinta and her husband are military. So,
right. So it was like, I did get a chance to read, listen, and we had to really step outside the box with them, because at first the teachers was not involved. They was just sending the stuff to us. So now I had to go in there. I had to make myself involved with the lesson plans, actually learn a lot of the stuff myself, teach it to them. And then, like I said, I stepped out. We was out there hopscotching and everything like that. And I was okay with that. After a while, I did want school to start back. I was like, and when it did, I was like, woohoo. They would line up first one, and it's okay. We do make sure they stay safe. I was not happy about taking the mask down. My girls did snatch that mask off first thing. I wasn't happy about it. I was okay with them wearing their mask on the bus and at school, but now they don't have to. But I think we did good. I think we didn't have a whole bunch of arguing. Me and my husband, we're still the same. and everything worked out just fine. I guess we both work from home. I guess to start with that, not work. We both are retired, so it wasn't like there was any dip in our actual income or anything like that because, you know, military was gonna put the first regardless. So we were good with that. So oh, there was a difference. Food. Oh my God, these kids can eat.
Okay.
You know, I had to start feeding them their breakfast and lunch. I didn't realize how much these little girls can eat until they were home here all day like this. I was like, oh my goodness, you guys are greedy. So
Were they eating regular food or were they eating junk food?
No, they were eating food. We don't do the whole junk food thing.
Uh-huh.
You know, we had to give them breakfast. We had to give them lunch, you know, and then dinner. So normally the only thing I was doing, because we packed their lunch every day. Now that they're back in school, we do pack their lunch every day. But you know, when they were home, we had to make sure they had breakfast. And these chicks wanted grits and eggs, and, you know, toast. They didn't want no cereal. Go there and get that Captain Crunch, leave me be. No. And it was fine.
Yeah.
Because I said, that's right. They say, if they need to have in full, and I demanded them to stay engaged with their studies, I had to make sure they were fed correctly. So that was it. So my family did good. We did good. And we're still strong.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
So Miss Cynthia, you want to go for the next question?
And you know, I didn't get the list. Could you give me, just choose one for me and I can
Okay, we'll
go
move
on
on.
because I didn't get the list.
No problem. No problem. Tracy, you want to do the next question?
So yeah, I will. One of them, let's see. How easy is it for you to say no? Anybody?
It's not easy
Not
for me
easy
at
at
all.
all.
It's not, and you know, and it frustrates me. And I'll sit back and I will tell people all the time, stand in the mirror, tell yourself, you know, tell them, no, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna do it. You're not gonna, and I can't do it. Because the
Why?
second someone asks me, I don't know.
Mm-mm.
It's this minute, someone text me, call me and ask
And then
me,
got her hand up.
okay. And I'll just do it. And regardless of if I'm flying down the road to accomplish it, I'm jumping in my car, I'm going to the grocery store, picking up something, I'll just do it. I can't say it. And I don't know if I can't say it because I fear hearing it
Mhm.
Mhm.
or it's just in me to do it.
Lynette?
Lynette, you got your hand up.
Santa. You see how you have a beautiful smile. All you have to do is smile and say, no.
Try
You
it.
can
Say it right
You
now.
can
Do
say it
it.
nicely. You can say,
Come on,
Tracy,
Santa.
tell her. Just say smile and just say, no.
Go ahead. Try it.
And
And
you
the
know,
reason
I'll tell you what comes to my mind, not now.
Mhm. No, it's not
Santa,
easy for me.
Santa,
It's not easy.
can I have $1 million?
If I had it, I would give it to you. I'm gonna say not now.
So I had a hard time when I was younger saying no. I used to always feel guilty. You feel guilty by saying no, but it puts too much pressure on you. You start feeling obligated to do a lot of things, and certain things you just don't want to do. And I, we all say yes, but sometimes you have to really just smile and say no. And it's okay. And guess what? It's not gonna kill you. Because if somebody need to borrow that $50 and you really don't have it, instead of scrounging trying to find a way to get that person that money, no. Guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna go to the next person. It's fine.
Oh, I've
know.
learned how to do it with my kids. No.
Period. Period.
Yeah.
But you can't say, you cannot, we can try, we do our best to try to do good in the world, but we can't save the world. So you have to sometimes, and I think that was one of the questions. You got to love yourself more in doing that. Having that self-care, you got to be selfish. And in being selfish, sometimes you have to just say, No, it's okay.
No.
No.
See how pretty she looked when she said no?
Pretty. Yeah, do it again, Santa. You're so pretty. Do it again.
Say no. I can say it. No.
I love saying no.
You said
And
you
I'm
love
okay with saying no. Yes.
I can say it anytime, anywhere. I don't know. Maybe it's because I was the youngest child. Uh, I don't know. But
I'm the oldest.
I learned a long time ago. I was like, if I don't want to do something, I'm not going to do it. I mean, some things I'm obligated to do, of course, with your kids and all that,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But there's times that I tell, my daughter, no, I'm not doing that. Or even my husband or friends, no, I'm not doing it. Even church.
And the majority
How
of the
about
time
that?
it is yes, right? Majority of the time, a lot of times it's
Yeah,
yes.
a lot of times it is, but if there's something that I know I'm not gonna put my heart into and I just don't feel like doing it, I'm not gonna do it,
No. No.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you learn as you get older.
Yes.
I think some people that are friends, you know what I mean? You start realizing the older you get, you're like, hey, this person been there for me, like I'm there for them. So
Yep.
then you just, no.
Yeah. No.
Mhm.
Oh,
I can't recall when
I-
Cynthia or Lynette has said no to me.
But you
I
haven't. You don't
recall.
But
ask.
you probably
don't
don't
ask.
ask for a lot.
I don't,
You don't. See,
Yeah.
that's the difference.
Yeah.
and I don't recall ever saying no to y'all either. It's like,
Well, we don't ask for a lot either, and it's not unrealistic. And once every
Right.
so often, I mean,
know.
I think one time I might have told you no, and that was to some extra Mary Kay, but that was it.
What? You didn't purchase no Mary Kay? Oh my God.
I purchased enough.
That's what
I'm
this
good.
is.
I did.
That's
Oh,
all I
that's what,
use.
look, that's what this is too. But I got enough. I'm good. No.
Well, yeah. Well, the hardest thing for me is my loved ones to say no to, because I always felt that I always had to save them, and I always had to be their rock, because, well, I'm the baby also of the family, but it seems as if I had to step into the role of so many different roles: the oldest sister, the mama, the caretaker, the this and that. And it seems as if not just one, but more than one on more than one occasion would come to me, and I would try to delegate, my time to be able to accommodate them for what they needed. And I realized I was leaving myself out. A lot of times at the end of the day, I didn't even have time to do self-care. So
Right.
even now being a caregiver for my mom, I realized that there are things that I have to allow her to do on her own, that I always felt that, oh, I got to do it. She's in need and this and that. But when I realized they'll let you do it as long as you will do it, they'll allow you to do it, even
Mhm.
though, they could figure it out for themselves. And now, that first question, or that first of them asking, I just jump in. I used to jump and do it. And now I have to sit back and say, well, is there any other options? Or, then I have to kind of figure out, what's important, is it, making sure that this time is more important than delegating it to something else, or you can figure it out on your own. So sometimes I have to say no to my close ones. So, but my friends, they never really ask anything of me. So I never had to really say anything like that to my friends. But family is hard. I've always said, I've always thought I had to protect them and say yes to this and that. So
Family
it's
is
pretty hard with my
I
family.
agree about the family.
It's hard, but after so long, you learn to tell them, okay, I'm starting to be used a little bit too much. So no.
That's what I found out,
Yeah.
especially by
Yeah.
the ones over 21 and the ones
Mhm.
that are,
Yeah,
yeah.
I have a hard
Seen
time
that.
saying no to my children, to my 4 children,
Hmm.
and like Lynette, I think you just mentioned, like if they ask you for like $50 and you don't have it, you're trying to find
don't
a way
find
to
it.
get it. And I find myself doing that You know, I
Yeah.
find myself doing that for my children sometimes. And it's like, Mom, you got $50. Can you send me $10 for gas or something? And I'm like, I don't want them to struggle. I don't want them to be put in a situation where, you know, they don't have, or, you know, they could be stranded or anything. And that's how I see it. But like, you know, Lynette, you always tell me, well, they'll find a way to get it if they need it. But I don't want, if I can avoid that from happening, that I would rather do that, you know, and I haven't learned to let them go. I haven't learned to let it go yet.
You
But it's
you
like,
gotta
you know,
learn to, you
I
gotta
felt
start
very,
living. That's called
I-
life, though. That's called
yeah,
life.
I felt being a woman, and we're speaking on that as a woman. I felt that I've been single parent for so long that I had to make sure that certain things were handled in a way that they wouldn't miss not having that father figure in their lives and being single as a woman,
yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
So it's kind of hard to say no in that aspect because I didn't want them to feel like, oh, we don't, you know, I know we're making it, but we're not hurting,
Yeah.
you know,
And I
to the
think,
point where,
yeah,
yeah,
I think too, if you say yes to your kids, and I'm not talking about little kids, I'm talking about the ones that
adult.
are, you know, young adults. If you keep, I've watched over the years, if you keep saying yes, 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 and doing for them, you are not teaching them life skills. And if something were to happen to you, you're talking about deer in headlights because they have not been able to mature enough when things happen. You know, of course, you're not going to have your kids out on the street. You know, I'm not talking about if they have any vices or anything like that. I'm just talking about our regular kids, you know, that might make a stupid decision or whatever, you know, not manage their money right or whatever it is. They're not going to be out in the streets. Of course, you're going to make sure they're not out in the streets, but I'm all for learning life lessons.
See,
You know,
my thing is with that, it's like if I've already gone through it and I know that, you know, what I went through, and had I made another decision, things would have turned out better. If I can prevent them from going down that
But we
same road,
can't.
I would rather do it. That's why I try to
yes,
help them
Yeah.
so much.
I agree with that. I
Yeah.
agree with that. I think I'm talking
Sometimes they
about
don't want you to do that.
when you see repetition of things happening over and over again. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
They keep getting in the same situations over and over again. Then how are they going to learn if you just don't say, stop, I'm not doing it. Figure it out. Sometimes
It-
But you
lessons
know,
you have to
also,
learn the hard way, and some things that I think with any of us, we can learn from our parents telling us whatever they're telling us, and they're trying to help us. But some lessons you just, in order to grow, you're going to have to fall on your face.
It's called life. It's
An
life.
old saying that the
Learn.
old people used to say, root little pig. But you got to go out there and get it, you know, because I'm not going to be here forever. I'm not going to always be able to hold your hand. Like in college, we won't be able to speak to your professors. We won't be able to talk to your teachers. You're going to have to want to get it for yourself. I can't take you through life holding your hand. So I had to learn how to, and my youngest, she's 21, but she kind of threw it in my face to make me realize that, because I found myself trying to lead her and tell her what to do and show her how it would help her and benefit her. And she just say, no, she was rebellious. She was like, no, I want to do it this way. So I was like, okay. I had to know how to back off. And
And
that was the
you
hardest
knew it
thing.
wasn't going to work,
I
but
had
she
to
had
learn
to
how to
learn.
back off.
Hmm.
Yeah, let it go. Yeah.
And I'm talking about, you know, I'm just talking about as far as, like, for example, if a kid keeps getting parking tickets and they're not being
Oh, yeah.
responsible and paying their
Oh,
parking,
oh,
and they
yeah.
keep coming to you to bail them out. So, and you bail them out. And
Mhm.
now guess what they did? They decide, well, since mama's gonna bail me out, I don't care if I park in the handicap. She'll bail me out anyway, so I'll go park in the handicap. You know that's a lot more money than a regular parking ticket. And then mama does it again. What example is that showing?
It's so funny you should say that. My youngest is 25, and he kept going in. He called it the Hove lane. And I was like, what is the Hove lane? And he was like, I get to work quick. I just jump over in the Hove lane. I'm like, oh. I said, are you
Oh.
talking about the HOV? I was like, don't do that. I said, it's not more than one person in the Hove lane. You gotta.
They
And so
don't
he's like,
listen.
all I do is I zip in and zip out. I said, you're gonna zip your little butt right on in there, I'll ticket. No, you speaking into this. I'm not speaking into existence. I
That's the
said,
favorite word. That's
stay
Right.
Yeah.
Stay
That right
out of the
there.
whole lane. I said, stay. About good 2 weeks later, guess what? He was in the whole lane. He got a ticket trying to get to work.
Mhm.
Tried to tell him, hard headed. They don't, but that's the life, that's the lesson. Listen, I'm gonna tell you and try to teach you, but if you're not listening, there's no reason. I mean, only thing we can do is talk about it, tell them the right way, but what they talk about, their horse leading to the water can't make them drink. Either you listen, and that was a hard lesson because I think that was like a $230 lesson he had to pay.
Yes.
Jeez.
After I told
That's a
you
lot
not to
of
go
money.
back in, tried to tell you not to go in the hole, but you went in the hole.
But I bet you he didn't go back in there, did he?
Sure did. There you go.
Hmm.
See? There you go. $230.
Well,
I told him there were cameras.
That's
I
right.
explained, I said, listen, there are cameras. They're watching you. If 2 people are not in the car, I have 10. There you go.
Okay.
Then I said, that's your answer then. You have 10? Well, there we go. There we go. He tinted his way out right on into a ticket. So, and that's what I'm saying. I'll explain it to you. We talk to our kids, and kids I think are a little bit different because we do give more, but we do have to let up some because we have to let them learn. Because if not, they're going to feel like we're handicapping them. They think that eventually they're going to think that that's the way things are supposed to go. That's why some of these kids end up in jail, in prison, because they just think everything is supposed to go their way, and it's not that simple.
Right.
true.
Right. I had one of my children tell me that I was doing too much for them. Like, you're doing too much. Just let me
Oh,
learn.
that's good.
Fall. And I'm like, no, why would I want to let my child fall? If I can prevent you from doing something, based on what I've learned, instead of going to the left, you can just go to the right. I'm telling you, this is the path you need to go, and this is the results that could happen. But if you go this way, this is gonna let me learn it on my own. Let me do it on
Because
my own.
if they're telling you that helicopter mom, that means you need to let them do it.
Mhm.
That's true.
Whatever. You and that
Only
helicopter
because
mom.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
well,
You have to
and
back off.
And I got to
Yeah.
look at the
But
generation
it's
too.
hard,
I got to look
especially
at the
being a
different.
single parent.
I'm a
Yeah,
single
the
parent. I was a single parent I just
parent.
got married 5 years
22
ago.
years.
5
You
years
can't
ago,
make
I
that your
just got
excuse.
married. My
Can't
daughter,
make that your excuse.
yeah,
That can't be an excuse.
But you got to look
Yeah.
at the way the kids are now and the way they think differently than we did and our parents did from us. And it's another thing. They wouldn't take some of the things that in the civil rights movement that my parents took, I probably wouldn't have taken, but they're not going down the same roads that we still had to deal with segregation, that they are being targeted. And I'm not going to even get into that. That's a different subject, but because we're still facing certain,
But I think they're stronger.
But now they're
And-
stronger. This
Yeah,
is what I'm saying. I think they have a different, outlook on what they will accept and what they won't accept.
Right.
Not really knowing is still, certain hierarchies that are preventing them from doing a lot of things that they have to fight for still, but they fighting in different ways. I think they just have a different look on.
but
they
I
still
think it's better for them though.
struggle.
on the world.
But I think it's better for them. A lot of them are
Yes.
going to
Yeah.
school. A lot of them are not taking a bunch of mess off their job. They're like, look, if they feel like they're being mistreated, they go on
Yeah.
to the next.
And look at the excellence.
They're owning their own stuff. That's what I'm saying.
That's right.
I think it's different.
Starting their own businesses early and all of that.
Because of that, I think that we need to let up and let them learn more. I think because of that reason,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that was y'all. Jacqueline. I mean, I'm not saying I don't. I'm not saying I don't play my part. I'm not saying that. I'm really being funny because I do the same thing, but I had to learn. Like with my daughter, she's in the military. I still was at the store buying her stuff, and I think she was 22, and I was like, I have to wean myself. And I told Jacqueline, I said, you got to wean yourself off your kids after a certain age, and start. So that money I was spending on them, I started spending on myself. They got their money, they can make it, they can do it, or saving it. So whatever works, but you got to start weaning yourself off your kids to allow them to grow and be grown, because they shouldn't be 30 years old and we still should be holding their hand. I don't agree with that.
But I think it's easier for me to let my sons do things as opposed to my daughters. I don't want my daughters to get hurt. I don't want them to,
What possibly is what's
strong.
going to hurt them? I mean, seriously, think about what you're saying, because we always think of the worst case scenario. For example, of course, I'm not putting no names out there, but anyway, I know somebody who their son, you know, they expose him to all kind of great things. He skis, you know, all this different stuff, right? But of course, when he got older, he started acting a fool, doing a little bit of drugs, you know, acting stupid, right? The mother just kept bailing him out, doing certain things, whatever. I told her, I said, listen, he has had it too good in life for him to be in the street. That brother ain't gonna be in nobody's street because, but if you keep bailing him out, he ain't gonna be no good to nobody, you know, because so there's certain kids like, you know, I look at, you are probably a great mother to your boys and to your girls. You have poured in them enough wisdom. And you've seen even more because you used to be a police officer than
Right.
the average person. So I know you poured in a ton of wisdom to those kids. So now it's just when you find yourself, as she said, the helicopter mom hovering. I know this is an internet show. I always say, you know, get them kids off your breast, get them off your titty.
Yeah, we know what you
That's
mean.
what I always say.
But
But
you know what? Being
but
that
I
I
say-
was a police officer and I seen a lot of things, that's why I tell my sons to do certain things to
Right,
avoid.
Because it might
but
not be
what I'm
them,
saying
somebody else
is
could be.
you
thinking-
said daughters, and I said you had to let your daughters, because the bottom line is they're not gonna fall so far underneath the curb that they're not gonna be in that place. You know what I mean? We tend to think the worst of the negative when
Yeah.
we're talking about our kids and them learning lessons. Every lesson is not a hard one that's gonna make them be on the street somewhere.
No,
It just knocks them over the head
they're
or
smart enough
hits
to
them on
know.
the butt or
That's right.
whatever it is to say, hey, don't do that again. Just
That's
like
right.
her son with his ticket. He ain't gonna do it again because he don't want to pay that money.
No.
Well,
No,
I'm learning. I'm learning. you
no,
know.
no, 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 you're not.
It takes a while. I'm learning.
We still have our nightmares. We still have
Oh,
our,
yeah,
our
absolutely.
intuition, and we still be
Of
visualizing what
course,
could
Yeah.
happen.
we're not saying don't be a mom. We're not
Yeah.
saying not, don't.
Intuition, I mean, that's our
I mean,
gift.
our fears.
I'm
and
not
I think
saying
we
kick them
are.
to the curb. I'm just saying, you know, if you
Let
you
'em
find
learn.
yourself doing too much, you just back off when they're young adults. Just a little.
Scale back. It's
That's true.
okay. Just scale back some and learn to smile and say no. And it's okay.
And I can just come to you and cry on your shoulder or cry on Cynthia's shoulder.
Been there, done that. We do it all the time, right to each other.
Somebody.
I know I can't go to Kathy. She'll be like, no pity parties here.
You know, I have someone that I always have someone that can, pull my collar up and say, hey, look, no, that's not, you don't need to do that. So,
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
there- yeah,
You need that one stern friend that'll be like, okay,
a real friend, yeah.
let's think about it logically. Does it make sense to do that? Okay, no,
Yeah.
shut it down. Yeah, you need that friend to tell you that, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
I got one that makes me match everything she says is, and so why? On that why and that and just gets me to thinking, like, what did she say it? Where did it come from? That comes to so and why? Just
Oh,
make you
okay.
That's a
answer
good
your own question, something that you would bring up.
Yeah.
And I said no. And why? Because I said so.
You sound like my mom and my dad because I said so. Now, I need an explanation.
And she said,
Why?
and then why? Because I said so. You don't need to know. I'm older than you. I had you. You didn't have me. It's just that simple. You know, it's just
Okay,
that
well,
simple.
Lynette, you go with the next question.
I've been trying to figure this one out because I had a couple and there was two that I liked. Do you take time to love yourself? And is it important for you to cry? I like both of those. So I didn't know which one. I know we can combine them, but do you take time to love yourself? And
Sometimes we don't.
No.
Because we're
sometimes we
loving
don't.
our families too much. We're, there for the kids. I don't have a husband anymore, but it was there for the husband, or or family members,
I didn't know what that looked like,
yourself.
to be honest,
Mm.
to love myself.
I
I didn't
think
know what that looked like.
in this pandemic, I have not been loving on myself as much as I had when before the pandemic. I used to go to the spa more and all that, and haven't done that. But I do walk. I walk. That's self-love. Outside, getting all that good air and all that stuff. But yeah. But crying, I think it's a great thing. God gave us tears for a reason.
I'm
And
a big
sometimes you just-
crybaby.
I think
Sometimes
crying is
I'm a
something,
big
it gets,
crybaby.
yeah, it'll take that stress off of you that might have been on you. I think when you don't cry is dangerous.
Well, that's
But
when I
you know
learned
what?
it was okay to talk to myself, because I learned how to do a
Oh.
little shadow work and go in the mirror and sit and just, I guess, just look at myself, really look at myself. I had to find out how to do that. And that brought me to think that I could do anything by myself. I didn't need anyone, I need someone, everybody needs someone, but I didn't have to have someone to make me happy.
Right.
I'll take myself out to dinner. I take my long Epsom salt baths. I just enjoy my
You do it
meditation. I had to
yourself.
learn how to do that. I had to learn.
But you said you didn't know what that looked like, but you're doing it. That's what it looks like.
I had to learn how. I know now, but
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't. I do take the time now.
It's hard when you're working and then trying to, because I work a lot, but it's a mental thing too. Sometimes you're full and you need to cry, you need a good cry. And sometimes, as far as loving yourself, you have to make the time to do it, force you to take the time. I could be in the middle of a meeting and think I got an hour to go downtown and get a salad and come back and I'll be late, but it's just something mentally, I gotta go outside. I have to go. Even if I have to stand outside, it's just something that I have to do. I am not an in-home person. Not that I'm outdoorsy, like, doing stuff like that, but I just do not like looking at four walls and just keep a move. I don't like stuff like that. I think it messes with you, but for the most part, I think it's very important to find ways to love yourself.
I know one thing that I've had to learn to do is, I know whenever like we go to church and Sunday, when we're done, my husband say, so where you guys want to eat? Since where we're going to go to eat? I always turn around and say, okay, girls, where we're going? They holler out, Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil-A closed on Sunday. Where you want to go? And then I found myself, of course, we're going somewhere that they mentioned. And then I said to myself one day, well, Cynthia, where do you want to eat?
Yeah.
And I started really thinking about me. I said, do I know what it is I like? That I like.
Yeah.
Not that I eat because it got left over, they ordered too much. Let me go ahead and finish that off, and let me do this. What is that I like? What do I want to watch? Where do I want to go?
Yeah.
And I said, I got to start putting me in the midst of all this too, because all this traveling and stuff, we do a lot of traveling. And we go out and everything that's on the little roster is, of course, it is for the girls. So like we're doing our roster now for Hawaii. We go to Hawaii. The first week, our whole time in Mexico, it was all about the girl. And I said, no, I want to do this while we're there. Because when we was gone to Jamaica, we only did with the girls. I didn't get anything that I wanted out of this. I said, no, when we go to Hawaii, I want me. Because all these little toys and all this nonsense, I'm tripping over here because, stuff that we got. And I'm okay, it's because we got the younger kids. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I said, no, I want me. So at least one Sunday out of a month, I want to go eat where I want to go. I want to go to my place. I like Olive Garden. That's where I want to go. Olive Garden. I don't like that. I don't want that. Well, then, oh well. You eat up, then you wait till you get home, you make yourself a sandwich. We're going to Olive Garden, because I don't care for those little places they want to go. So that's it. That's how I like to pull me into this picture. And, we do that. We're all moms. We do that as moms. You go in there and you think about taking care of your kids first, and you get put all the way to the left. And I said, no. I stand in the mirror in the morning and I said, good morning, Cynthia. What can I do for you?
That's a good one.
Yep. I had to teach my goddaughter that. I said, she's quick to want to help everybody else. I said, the first thing you should say to yourself in the morning is, good morning, what can I do for you? And
I'm gonna try
when
that
that
one.
day ends, you have to say, okay, what did you do for you today? And that's it. And then you say, well, I did this for me today. Okay, you did a good job.
What did Mary say? Good morning, gorgeous, when you wake up?
Oh, that's my song. Yes. Uh, she said something when she made that.
She did. Good morning, gorgeous. And you are absolutely right, because we have those days where we don't feel like that. But we have to do whatever we have to do to get back to where we need to be as women. We have a lot on our plate. A lot of people don't realize that. And regardless if your kids are grown or not, we still have a whole lot on our plate that we're thinking about. This is all the time. And and a lot of times it's underappreciated. So we have to find times for ourselves or say to ourselves, good morning, because if nobody else gonna say it, you gotta say it. Who else gonna think it?
And not going too deep, but with us as Black women, we've always been looked at as hard, angry, and not appreciated. So it's a lot we've always had to carry. So we need to know how to love ourselves. We got to get back to the root of us as women, as
As queens.
as queens. Our
Yes.
ancestors
Yes.
are, in us.
Queen. That's
Our
right.
ancestors were queen. We're
That's right.
getting back to the root of things. And we didn't know we were lost for so long, broken.
And we can't worry about what people think about us being angry or
I
anything.
still haven't cried for a couple of funerals.
Mm.
And I've hurt so bad. I can take the pain, I guess, so bad on the inside that I couldn't cry for a long time.
Mm. Mm.
Was it that you couldn't cry or you were afraid to cry?
I don't know if it could have been afraid, but I didn't know whether just to take the pain and how to cry.
So always remember, you can take the pain in your body if you want to, but that pain's going to come out in some other kind of form as
And it did.
dis-ease.
It did.
Whether it could be something as simple as, oh my goodness, I have this pain. I don't know why I have this pain. I ain't talking about, when you wake up, old lady pains or old man pains, but
Yeah.
Your body is going to react to whatever is going on, whatever stress, sadness, whatever it is that's going on. But if we don't deal with it, our body's going to deal with it some kind of way.
Right. You're
You know.
absolutely right.
There's a book called, I'm a Christian. I always preface this. But there's a book called You Can Heal Your Life, and it's by Louise Hay. And she is one of those metaphysical doctors, or was. She passed away now. But, so she believes in, I guess, religious science or something like that. But, even though I'm a Christian, I know that a lot of the stuff that they understand, pastors are just now talking about some of that stuff. But she wrote a book, it's really good. And one of the things in the book is it talks about ailments, the ailments in our body and what the probable cause could be, because her belief is that a lot of this stuff is rooted in emotions, even cancer. And one of the things she had to work on herself is she ended up getting cancer in her uterus. She said, well, it was no surprise to her that it came up in her uterus. She said, because she had never told anybody she had got molested when she was a kid. So she said, well, got to practice what I preach, right? Got to do the work like I'm helping other people. And she talked to her doctor. They worked out something. And before she didn't want to go and do, she didn't want to have a surgery, at first. She wanted to try her methods and really doing the work emotionally, because she never dealt with that in her life. And so with her dealing with it, she said when she went, she had to change her diet too, of course. She went back to the doctor. I guess he was monitoring her, and maybe 3 months went by or 6 months. I can't remember what it was. I know it wasn't a year. She had no traces of cancer left, because she had dealt with that emotional situation that she had never dealt with. It could be something as little as you being stubborn about something, and all of a sudden your knee starts hurting. It's a pretty good book. You know, it's interesting to read it, and you know, she has stuff in there about diabetes, all kinds of. It's pretty interesting.
I remember I watched an episode of Steve Harvey, the Family Feud, and one of the questions was, how often should you cry? And the survey was the number one answer was once a year, that you should have a good cry once a year. I'm like, who does that? I cry almost every
Americans.
day.
You know,
Americans.
a
I can
man
cry
must have come
every
up.
day. You know, I
But, you
mean, I'm
know,
just an
a
emotional
man
type
must have come up
person.
with that. Because men say they, just now getting to their sensitivity where they can cry. So I guess a man came up with that question.
An American man, because you look in other countries, those men cry. They kiss their sons. You
Yeah,
know,
they do.
they do all kinds of stuff. That's an American thing.
Yeah, yeah. Because the first time I saw my father cry, I think it was when my youngest brother got killed, and he was 9 years old. That was the first time I ever saw my father cry. And then after that, he didn't hold back. If he was upset about something or emotional about something, a death or an illness or something, he would cry. You know, but I remember my mom had a stroke in 2014, Christmas Eve 2014, and I was in Chicago. And that whole year, for a whole year, you know, because I was flying, I was, on my days off, I was there with her. So at the hospital, so I was constantly crying and crying. I would come into the hospital and she was like, Jackie, what's wrong with you? Why are you crying? And I would tell her, I'm scared. I'm scared. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how to handle this, And I was constantly crying and crying. And then once she accepted what was going on, she would tell me, don't cry anymore. She said, let's just pray. And I was like, okay. So we prayed. So she taught me and she helped me through her transition. So at her funeral, I couldn't cry. I was all cried out because I had cried for that whole year. I had cried for that whole year, But I mean, it was, people may have looked at me like, oh, you're not crying. Your mom died and you're not crying. Well, you don't know what I did behind closed doors. Right. But for that whole year when I was with her, I was bawling my eyes out. I was like a little baby, but I had to be strong when I was around my family, So, but now, I cry now. I have no problem crying. I can cry at a drop of a dime. I'm very emotional, but I'm afraid to cry too long. I'm afraid if I cry too long, then I might not be able to come back from it. That's why I'll cry in little spurts as often as I can, just to get it out. Because I know if you hold it in, it's going to have to come out eventually, and you don't want it to come out in illness or anything like that. So, I have no problem crying. We're going to do one more question. And Kathy, did you come up with a question, or would you want us to skip you?
I'm enjoying just joining in, so I don't have any questions. And I don't have the list, so yeah.
Well, let's talk about menopause.
Let's talk about menopause. Ooh, child, we should have started with that one.
Yeah,
we only got 7 minutes left.
We would have been talking the whole hour about that. Did you not hear me just?
I didn't want to talk about that first. I saw you pull your fan out, Lynette.
Glad I'm not the only one.
Well, my fan is down here on the floor. Keep adjusting it.
Oh, I have a fan on the floor too. It was that I got two. I got that one in. This extra just in case when time comes.
Lynette just whipped that fan out and just.
That's a pretty fan too.
But that's something, because Lord's will, I will be 60 years old in July, and I have not gone through menopause. My mom didn't go through menopause. It passed.
But I think
she
it's
didn't go
great.
through menopause. Her cycle just stopped.
Yeah.
And that's the same with me. So I cannot relate when Lynette.
I can, Lynette. I'm with you. I'm with you.
When they start fanning and clothes start coming off, I'm like,
I didn't see those beads of sweat started to pop for a minute.
Right.
I had to pull out
but
the fan.
we can't see that. But yeah, my aunt went through it really bad, but my mom did not. But me and my sister, we both had to have a hysterectomy. And I had one in 2016, and a year later,
It hit
a
like
year,
a ton
excuse
of
me,
bricks.
a
Yeah.
year and 3.5 months later, I was like, what is this?
Wow.
Oh my God, I'm so hot.
Wow.
But yeah, so thank God I don't have the irritableness and all that kind of stuff, but I get the hot
I don't
flashes.
have that. I just got the hot. I just
Mhm. But they go away sometimes, don't they?
so
They can go away and come back.
Yeah,
'Cause
they do
I
come back,
think I
but they
started.
sometimes they give
away.
you get a break.
I think I was 30. I had to have a, so you talk about hysterectomy. It's hysterectomy, you know, black women and fibroids. So I had fibroids that grew to the size of a grapefruit, and I didn't know it. And something happened. I think it burst or something, whatever. I ended up having to do emergency surgery. But what he did tell me, he said when I took it, I had to touch your ovary, just tap it, because it was on my ovary. He said, and because of that, you're gonna have hot flashes. So I didn't know what that was. So I'm like you. So about 6 months later, I was standing outside in the snow with no clothes on. And I didn't understand what it was. And I just did in the wintertime. And I was like, what is happening? It went away for a couple of years, but then it came back. And when I went to the doctor, she was like, "You're too young to have menopause." I was like, "Look, I know what hot flashes are. I'm having them. I'm cover off, cover on, fan off, fan on 10 times a night. You know, I got the fan like you, Kathy. I'm the thing that I got this one. I got them everywhere. I have so many. I got another fan. Here we go. So what I'm saying, and this one just staple on the thing, and I got a battery and press button. So what I'm saying is, and the little beads of sweat. I can be out in the sun and not sweat, but then when the hot flashes come, it's something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, and I'd be
Yeah,
glad when it
it's
go away.
different.
And they said there's a couple things trigger it, and I'm probably. And I'm at fault to some. I'm not a chocolate person, but they say candy can do it. Chocolate, I think, but I don't eat chocolate like that. But I think this right here might do it too. So that don't help.
Oh yeah, alcohol definitely does.
So I have to have my wine. I'm sorry. And sometimes that's a trade-off. I might be willing to know that I'm going to have these hot flashes, but I got to drink the wine. But sometimes I just got to make me a glass. It just has to happen. But I know what I'm looking forward to. And that's one thing. It's like a punishment. It's like when your mama when you know your parents got to come home and tear that behind up for you acting up. You know how you like, that's how I feel I already know what's going to happen tonight. I'm just going to be doing this number here and just start, hit the fan and, but yes, it's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Trust me.
I've never had hot flashes. I never even had cramps during my cycle growing up. Never.
Oh wow.
But my sister would be balled up in the bed. My daughter
Yes.
would be balled up in the bed. And I'm like, okay. And I asked my mom one time, I said, Mom, what is a cramp? And when I was in labor with my oldest son, I had a labor pain, and she said, "Remember, you used to ask me about cramps?"
That's
I'm
it.
like, "Yeah." She said, "Well, that's a cramp, but times 10." I was like, "Are you serious? Women go through this every month." So I was totally blessed. I didn't do the cramps. I didn't have the
That's really good.
menopause.
That's good. Lucky you. Because when my
Yeah.
daughter, they'll call, well, they wouldn't call, but at the school, I was at school every day. But they're like, okay, so my daughter said, Mom, just not, I'm stay at home. It's not even a question. I wouldn't say push through, stay at home. No, stay at home. And they'll say, well, you let her stay at home once a month. If she needs to stay at home once a month, guess what? She's gonna stay home once a month. That's just what it is for both of them. So if they weren't on the, what do you
I
call
mean,
it?
that's what I had to do. I mean, I remember once a month, and it just was what it was, unless it happened when over the weekend.
Yeah,
You
it
know.
was that day. They needed that day.
Mhm.
We all needed. Mine was very bad. 7 days.
Yeah.
It was just bad. But but then now I got menopause. But I think I'll take the menopause over the cramps.
Oh, I
Yeah, I'm
would too.
so glad they're gone.
Yeah,
Mm.
I would too.
Knock on
I was
wood.
thanking God for that one. Yes. But the trade-off is that them hot flashes. But yeah, I'll take that trade-off any day.
Mhm.
Well, ladies, it's 7:59.
Yeah, it worked
Wow.
out.
Yeah, we made it.
We only went through what, 4 or 5 questions?
Yeah,
Right.
Wow.
it
That's
worked
how it
itself
is.
out.
Get together and start talking.
You're right. It did. It worked itself out, you see? Okay,
Where's
look,
that
Thank you
one?
for
Oh,
inviting
the one with the tickets?
I see you. I see you right here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You tell him
How
he's
y'all
on
doing?
Facebook.
They're Facebook Live and they see you.
Oh, how y'all doing? Everybody all right?
Uh-huh.
That's how I agree. Hey, baby.
Well, thank you so
Yeah.
much for joining us,
Thank
guys. We
you.
really appreciate it.
It was nice talking to you, ladies.
I
Thank you
enjoyed
for
it.
Yeah,
everything.
same
I
here.
enjoyed it. Thank you.
We'll see you the next time. And remember, everything you heard and everything we said was our point of view.